How you going, people? Man, this guy Bloomberg, man, he's driving me crazy. You're not going to believe the statements this guy makes. And of course, it's not getting a whole bunch of media coverage. This is from January 8th. It doesn't say the year. He did a Nightline. So let's listen to his view of gun control. Now, Bloomberg's a billionaire, billion with a B. So I think he's given over $100 million to these left-wing groups like Moms Against Freaking Freedom, Moms Against Guns, Moms Against Fast Cars, Moms Against Alcohol, Moms Against Kids Riding Bikes with no helmets. Whatever the hell the left-wing women are out there screaming they want the government to protect them. He gave $100 million to these agencies just to push gun control. He even dogs Obama for saying he didn't do enough to get the guns. And he's thinking about running. So let's hear what he says here.
You can't put it on the same scale.
The NRA believes that it's working in the best interest of the American people.
The NRA used to work for the best interest of the American people. They didn't necessarily say that. They wanted money, and they catered to gun owners. But gun owners and the Second Amendment is in the best interest of the American people. When the Second Amendment fails, the First Amendment is not far behind, and then the Fourth, Fifth, and every one. Our Constitution was made. When the founders wrote the Constitution, or the Bill of Rights, when the founders got together and said, let's make this country better than it was before, they started with priority, and priority one was the First Amendment. Free speech and free press. The government cannot stop the press from reporting on them, and they can do what they want. Doesn't mean they're free to lie and to screw over the American people and work with the government. The free press was supposed to be the watchdog for the people of the government and to keep the people informed of the government's tyrannical growth and power. And the Second Amendment was the right to bear arms. And we had just got finished fighting a tyrannical government and starting a new nation because that tyrannical government wanted gun control. They didn't want the colonists to have guns. They didn't want them to be able to fight back. As a matter of fact, what kind of sparked this is when 5 or 7 British troops shot a dude because he threw a can or a rock at him, and they shot and killed him. And that was a big issue that pissed off a lot of people, because the British, like all governments, were saying, you don't need guns, only we need guns, we will protect you. The same song and dance every tyrannical government has ever given. But let's hear what Bloomberg thinks about the NRA.
Oh, I don't know that. They're not supposed to do that. They're supposed to work in the best interest of gun owners. They don't have any responsibility for the American people. They're paid by the gun owners. Nothing wrong with that.
I agree with him. There is nothing wrong with that, because the left-wing groups has plenty of groups that he's paying to support their side. The difference is gun owners who support organizations or used to support, like the NRA. Now, I'm with Guns for America over the NRA, but there's a lot of groups out there. Texas has a good gun group also, but I'm for any group that defends freedom. The left is for any group that kills freedom and that gets rid of that pesky Constitution. They hate the Constitution because it limits government, and liberals think if they had all the power, they got all the answers. They're smarter. Socialism just hasn't worked because they haven't been in charge. That's the big difference. Gun owners, freedom, and a Constitution. People that attack gun owners don't want freedom, and they don't want the Constitution.
It's the rest of us that cave into them who are disgraceful.
So I think a lot of people are going to be surprised to know that if you're on the no-fly list, you can't board a plane in this country, you can still buy a gun.
Absolutely, and that's because the NRA has cowed Congress into believing that if they go against the NRA, they're not going to get reelected.
That's not why. To get on the no-fly list, the government can just put you on it. They can keep it secret. They don't give you a due process to put you on a no-fly list. They don't give you a way to fight it. So what the liberals wanted was the no-fly list meant automatically you couldn't buy a gun. But you were not allowed to know why you were on a no-fly list, because government, liberals, the left, wants more government and more government power. They hate the pesky Constitution that demands due process. They hate the fact that the Constitution holds them, the government, accountable. That's the reason. It's not because the NRA kowtowed Congress. It's because they tried to get around the Constitution, and luckily, we happen to win on that one.
He says for all the NRA's fabled influence, they can be vanquished.
They ain't that powerful. Their number one priority in this last year was defeating Barack Obama. I think when I remember reading newspapers about a month ago, he won.
This is just...
Well, that tells you right there. If you're getting your news from the newspaper, that pretty much qualifies you as a freaking idiot.
the latest chapter in the mayor's crusade, who says he's attended far too many police funerals.
Really? Have you attended all the funerals where police have killed innocent people who were trying to defend themselves, who wanted to push back against tyrannical? Did you defend those funerals? Or no, you just want to make it look like you support the cops. Why do liberals support the cops? Because the cops are the protector of politicians. The cops get to keep their guns when they take them away from the citizens. The cops will be armed when they disarm America. That's why the left supports the cops.
We've got to do something to protect those who are trying to protect us. There are armor-piercing...
Protect. It's for your protection. The government, we're here to protect you. Protect and serve. National security. We have to keep you safe. Trust us. We're here to help. Oh, yeah, that's a great...
bullets advertised for sale. The last time I saw a deer wearing a bullets advertised for sale.
Sorry, I cut him off. He's talking about armor-piercing bullets, which I don't think they advertise them for sale, but maybe I'm wrong.
Armor-piercing bullets advertised for sale. The last time I saw a deer wearing a bulletproof vest was a long time ago.
So, liberals, again, never want to deal with facts. They want to redefine and change things. I mean, if you don't understand liberalism, it's very easy to be fooled by them. They're very good at reconstructing words, definitions, branding. They're very good at that. I mean, I'll give the devil his due. But the Second Amendment is not about freaking shooting a deer. And he keeps saying this, and it's just outrageous.
The only reason you would buy an armor-piercing bullet is to kill a cop.
Though Bloomberg endorsed President...
That is not why you would buy an armor-piercing bullet. Maybe you're shooting at a distance. Maybe you want to see the performance of the bullet in your gun. Maybe you want to shoot accurately at a long distance. Maybe you want penetration on an animal with a smaller bullet that is a lot larger. There's plenty of reasons. And if it's so bad, why does our military have them? If it's so bad, why does our government want to keep them? Why does the government think that they should have everything that the pesky tax-paying citizens should not have?
President Obama in November, he pulls no punches when criticizing him on the gun issue.
In the last 4 years, it would be fair to say, I think, that the president has done nothing on this issue.
No, he's actually gone in the wrong direction. He's
Oh, he's talking about a liberal. Rick, you said liberals never talk about liberals. I did say that, and it's true. He's not necessarily dogging him. He's saying he went in the wrong direction. He's trying to get his job. They'll talk about each other to cut each other down. They will never go against the policy. If Obama came out with a policy, he would not be out here dogging Obama's policy if Obama was doing what he wanted. Remember, liberals will always support those that agree with them. It's only when you disagree that they hate that damn First Amendment and pesky Constitution.
Signed 2 pieces of legislation, one which lets you carry guns in national parks where our kids play, and
Oh, did you notice how he just kind of slid that in? National parks is where our kids play. Last time I checked, national parks can be dangerous. There's a lot of animals out there. It's also a great hunting ground because when you make no-go zones or no-gun zones, criminals know they're safe. They know they can rob. They know they can beat you with a stick or a knife. If you're taking your kids to a national park to play and thinking you're safe because it's a national park, well, that pretty much qualifies you as an idiot.
the other one, he signed a bill so that you can carry a gun on Amtrak.
So let's just look at the assault weapons ban.
Amtrak. Let's talk about Amtrak. Let's talk about any public transportation. When was the last time one of you used public transportation? If you don't have to use it, you don't use it. Those that use it have to use it. And those that use it know that there is more crime, more vandalism, more attacks on public transportation than anywhere else. I guarantee you, if you look at the number of attacks on public transportation versus your car, the numbers will be outstanding that you will not believe the difference. But liberals don't want to talk facts. We just got to say things that make people scared and make people want to elect us so we can protect them.
Yep.
We had one in this country for 10 years. Every single weapon used by the shooter in Connecticut would have been okay under the old assault weapons law. They were all exceptions.
Yeah, okay, so the law is flawed. Fix it.
Isn't it pretty hard to define what is an assault?
You know how she kind of just slipped that in, that every weapon... So let me get this straight. If we can say every car that's involved in a drunk driving, if we just get rid of those cars, because if we're going to blame the weapon, then let's blame the cars. If every car that gets involved with a drunk driving, we just need to get rid of those cars because they're the ones that's caught. That's how stupid and ignorant that argument is. And yet people will just repeat it and think it's the greatest thing ever.
Assault weapon, because it's so easy to write around for manufacturers to create weapons that...
Well, if it can fire a lot of bullets very quickly, that's a good place to start.
That's a good place to define assault weapon. She asked, how do you define assault weapon? If it can fire a lot of bullets quickly. Well, there's people that shoot a revolver quicker than a semi-automatic or an automatic. I mean, it's crazy how fast somebody can shoot a revolver. They can empty 6 rounds in under 2 seconds. So with that definition, again, liberals say they don't want all the guns, but they do. They only want them and the government to have guns.
Okay?
And
then
hunters
you
would
can
say...
argue what a lot is. Okay, let's pick it. Let's say 3. If you haven't hit the deer with 3 shots, you're a pretty lousy shot.
Here we go with the deer again. Maybe I'm not shooting a deer. Maybe I'm shooting at mass home invasion where 6 people are charging my house trying to steal my livestock, kill my livestock, steal my car, come in and burn down my house, take over. Maybe I'm defending myself against 6 people that do that. See, he's never had a home invasion because he's a millionaire. He's got a fence around his home. The same type of wall around his home is the wall that he doesn't want on the United States. I guarantee you he has armed guards. He has guns. He even admits he had a .22. He doesn't need a gun now because he hires people with guns to protect him, which all government does, which is why government doesn't want you to have guns. Just outrageous.
That deer deserves to get away. Let's get serious here.
But that would ban most pistols. That would ban most...
No, but pistols are different. You have to pull the trigger.
Pistols are different. You have to pull the trigger. Is there a gun out there you don't have to pull the trigger that I'm not aware of? Freaking idiot!
Each time. An assault weapon, you basically hold it, goes... Blah, blah, blah.
He goes... Blah, blah, blah. Really? That's an assault weapon? When you pull the trigger and it goes... Bup, 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 that's multiple rounds. That is an automatic machine gun, and automatic machine guns or automatic weapons are lawful. The government just wants an extra tax stamp, $200 from you. If you pay the government, you can have a weapon where you pull the trigger and it goes bub bub bub, but you have to pay the government more, and then you can have it. See, they don't even know the gun laws that are out there. Remember, currently on the books, there's over 30,000 gun laws. And yet they're still claiming if we only had more, we could keep you safe. If we only had more than 30,000, we could keep you safe. How freaking outrageous, the ignorance of people that buy into this.
No, those are fully automatic weapons.
Okay.
So fully automatic weapons.
I'm pretty impressed. She knew that. You go, girl. You're just an ABC flunky. I'm surprised.
You have a big magazine. You'll solve your problem.
Oh! A big magazine. That's an assault rifle. Big. What's big? Didn't New York outlaw like 32-ounce drinks because they thought it was too big and they needed to protect people? California outlawed straws because people were getting fat because they were drinking too fast out of straws. Whatever the reason the freaking liberal comes up with banning something, they just want control.
You still have to pull a trigger, but if it's 30 bullets or 20 bullets or 10 bullets before you run out, I would suggest the deer is God wants that deer.
Back again to the deer. I think this guy got attacked by a deer when he was younger, and he just thinks that's the only thing that needs to be hunted is a deer. Unfreaking believable. It's not about a deer, you big dummy. When the founders created and wrote the Second Amendment, they were not talking, or they did not just get back from a deer hunting trip. They just got finished liberating a nation from a tyrannical government that was trying to take their guns. The Second Amendment is not about hunting. Totality of circumstances. Why would the Founding Fathers write such an important document about free speech, unlawful search and seizure, and owning a gun right after they fought to get out from under a government that didn't give them privacy, did not give them protection against unlawful searches, to where the government could come in and take and use their house anytime they wanted? Because that's what the redcoats did. They tried to take their guns. That's what the redcoats and tyrannical governments do. The redcoats did not allow you free speech. If you talked against the king, that was treason and you could be killed and hung. Why do you think the founders made that? It wasn't because they were on a hunting trip hunting for deer. It's outrageous.
Deer to live.
But according to gun owners, what you've just described would ban most guns that hunters use today.
If that's what they're using, for God's sakes, why don't they use dynamite?
That's exactly what I say with cops. Let's just give them grenades, and then we don't need to have them worry about how much force they use. They just show up to scene, toss a grenade in, and go 10-8. It's done. It's over. That he's trying to make it like, oh my God, if they're using a gun like that for, I mean, I just don't get it.
Just make it easier. I mean, what's the sport?
The position that
It's not about sport, you big dummy. It's about being able to defend your family. It's about personal responsibility. It's about not having to depend on a government where the courts have ruled that the government doesn't have to protect you, where you call 911 and you get put on hold, where it can take up to 2 hours to get a police officer to come out when you call for help. And when you give up the gun, like in the LA riots, when shit hits the fan, the government leaves with the guns and sits on the outside and says it's too dangerous to go in. Let the unarmed people that we took gun from defend themselves. When you take guns from good people, only bad people will have them. They don't care about laws. Gun control is not about stopping crimes or making you safe. It's about disarming the public.
a lot of people are going to say is all you're going to accomplish is taking guns away from the good people, and the bad people are still going to have them.
No, that's not
Holy shit, she read my mind.
true. The statistics say that if you have a gun at home, you are 22 times as likely to shoot a family member or a friend as to somebody breaking in.
22 times more. I've had a gun in my house since I was probably 11 years old. I can't remember not having a gun loaded in the house since I was 11. I'm pushing 60 and I'm telling you, I ain't never shot nobody. Okay? That's just freaking ridiculous.
Don't try to go for a gun. You've got somebody pointing a gun at you. You think you're going to be able to outshoot them? That's one of the stupidest things I've ever heard.
That is a victim mentality. He is a victim. If there is an attack and he's in a room where there's a mass shooter, he will be the one hiding, crying, and asking somebody with a gun to help him. This pink panty beta freaking rich dude who's got armed guards, he don't want anybody having a gun, and he pays an armed security force to protect him, which I'm going to show you an article where one of his guards shot somebody when he was off duty. But that's coming up. Hang on, here we go.
But some point out that's easy to say for a man who has 24-hour police protection.
Holy cow. I guess I should have watched this whole thing. I didn't watch it. Absolutely right. He's got all these people with guns around him.
When I come in to interview you, I got to go through metal detectors. There are men with guns out there to make sure that you're safe. Okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, look at that. Do you see the arrogance in that? Well, sure, absolutely. I'm special. I'm a liberal. Laws shouldn't apply to me. I have money to protect myself. I'm important. You pesky tax-paying citizens are not important. You don't deserve the same rights that I have. That pesky Constitution gives you those rights, and that's why we hate it on the left.
There are people, lots of people, who say, let's make our kids safe in the same way. Barbara Boxer yesterday said the National Guard should be deployed. There should be to schools across the country.
Oh, God, that's ridiculous. You can't live your life that way.
Didn't he just say, yeah, I got people with guns around me? He can live his life that way, but you pesky, ignorant citizens should not have that same right or choice.
You'd be in a prison.
After a decade of battling this issue, the mayor says the tide may be turning.
Are we at a tipping point right now?
I hope so, but you never know. If the 20 young 6- and 7-year-olds isn't a good example for everybody, I don't know what is. We are killing 34 people in this country every single day.
That's absolutely ridiculous. He's spitting out these stats, and nowhere is there backup to these stats. And even if they're true, government, drunk driving, and doctors kill 10 times the amount of people that lawful gun owners do. And when they spout these spouts, most of their statistics are coming from left-wing inner cities with high diversity, liberal-run cities run by liberal Democrats that already have extreme gun controls. And you know what? That's where they get their stats. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Gun control is racist. The left and Democrats do not want black people having guns because they know that's where all the gun violence is. They can't defend it. They can't stop it. And they know it's tied around their neck like a big stake. And you know what? The only way to get rid of the guns from their constituency is to say guns are the problem. It's not the people doing the crime. It's the mean gun. All right, let's take a look at where his bodyguard got hit. Member of Mayor Bloomberg's security detail in hot water over shooting. Let's see. Detective stripped of his gun and badge, put on desk duty. Involving a gal pal's ex-lover. What is a gal pal's ex-lover? Somebody hook me up on that. He was stripped of his gun, turned himself in Friday while off duty, charged and shot a man while off duty. 17-year fired his gun in violation of New York policy. I don't even remember hearing about this. This is quite a few years ago. Reckless endangerment. Anyway, again, Bloomberg wants people guarding him, but he doesn't want you to have a gun. Man, if you can't wrap your mind around how the left is manipulating you on gun control, you don't get it. That's all I'll say. We'll end that there.